On a bright but chilly morning in the heart of the city's financial district, where glass towers touched the sky and expensive cars hummed along polished streets, a little girl with dusty cheeks and tired eyes pushed open the enormous doors of the Grand Crest Bank. Her name was Arya Nolan, and her small hands clutched a worn-out card the way someone holds the last bit of hope they have left in the world. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, but even with all that brightness, Arya looked like a shadow, fragile, trembling, and completely out of place among the marble floors and towering columns. As she stepped forward, heads turned. Not all she wanted was simple. She wanted to check her balance. If you believe kindness can change someone's life, and if you stand for second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us spread more light in a world that desperately needs it. Arya's journey to the bank did not begin with courage. It began with desperation. She had spent the last 2 days wandering the city with only a few coins in her pocket, wearing a torn gray shirt and jeans that barely fit. Her mother had always told her before she passed away to keep the little white bank card safe. Arya had held on to it for years, never knowing if it meant anything. But today, with hunger gnawing at her stomach and strangers avoiding her on the sidewalks, she was finally ready to see whether the card meant anything at all, whether her mother had left her a miracle or nothing. The bank buzzed with noise and energy unlike anything Arya had ever experienced. Screens flashed numbers and stock charts. Workers in tailored suits rushed past, carrying files and coffee cups. Phones rang non-stop. Every corner gleamed with wealth. And in the center of it all sat Maxwell Grant, one of the richest investment magnates in the city. His laughter echoed across the floor as he held court with his advisors. He was a man used to power, used to winning, and used to being untouchable. Nothing ordinary ever rattled him. But then he noticed Arya. She stood at the customer service desk, timidly sliding her card forward. The banker behind the counter, Elena, froze at the sight of the girl's condition. People stared, some out of concern, out of shock, and a few with irritation. Arya's voice was barely audible as she explained what she needed. Elena gave her a soft smile and gently guided her toward Maxwell's section, because his exclusive terminal could access deeper archives of old accounts. Arya didn't know this. She only followed because she wanted to know if she had anything left in this world. Maxwell watched her approach with mild amusement. He assumed it was a publicity stunt or some misunderstanding. He leaned back, chuckling quietly as the little girl stepped to the counter. With a quick motion, she handed him the card, an old, faded debit card that had clearly seen better years. Maxwell shook his head at the absurdity of it all. A billionaire being asked to check a homeless child's bank balance. The situation felt so surreal he couldn't stop a smirk from forming. But Arya wasn't laughing. Her hands shook. Her eyes darted around the room, absorbing every judgmental stare. She just wanted one thing: answers. One moment of truth. The room went quiet as Maxwell inserted the card into the screen, and then everything changed. Maxwell's smile vanished. His eyebrows drew together. He leaned closer, rereading the numbers on the screen as if expecting them to rearrange themselves into something more believable. His advisors stepped closer, their expressions shifting from curiosity to shock. Elena held her breath. The balance on the screen wasn't empty. It wasn't small. It wasn't normal, not for someone like Arya. It was enormous. Years ago, Arya's mother had worked at a small community center where she met a kind-hearted entrepreneur named Victor Hale. He was childless, aging, and deeply grateful to Arya's mother for caring for him in his final months. Without Arya or her mother ever knowing, Victor created a trust fund in Arya's name, one that grew year after year, untouched, accumulating interest and investments he set to continue even after his death. He hoped Arya would find it when she needed it the most, and today was that day. Maxwell stared at the number, realizing the little girl in front of him wasn't just a child in need. She was one of the wealthiest individuals he had ever seen. A fortune she never even knew existed. A fortune that could change her life forever. For the first time in years, Maxwell felt humbled, completely, utterly silenced. The girl he'd smirked at was now wealthier than some of his clients. The bank watched as Maxwell rose slowly, looking At Arya not with pity, but with respect, a respect she had unknowingly earned. Arya didn't understand the number on the screen. She only saw that Maxwell suddenly looked different, less amused, more human. Elena crouched beside her and gently explained the truth. Arya's lips parted in disbelief. Tears filled her eyes. She wasn't alone anymore. She wasn't helpless. Her mother had left her something far more powerful than she ever imagined: security, hope, and a future. People whispered, stunned at what they had witnessed. Maxwell, famous for arrogance, now helped Arya gather her things. He offered her food, water, and promised to assign his best advisors to protect her interests until a guardian could be appointed. Arya nodded, overwhelmed, clutching the card that had just transformed her life. It was still daytime, sunlight shimmering through the high windows, but for Arya, the world felt new, warmer, brighter, and finally safe. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your engagement helps these stories reach more people who need hope. Before the story ends, comment below. What would you do if you discovered a miracle when you least expected it? As Arya stepped out of the Grand Crest Bank later that afternoon, walking into the golden daylight with a small smile forming for the first time in years, she realized something profound. The world could be cruel. The world could be cold. But sometimes, hidden in the most unexpected places, there are gifts left behind by those who loved us, gifts powerful enough to change everything. And that day, Arya carried hers close to her heart, knowing her life was no longer defined by fear, but by possibility.